Thank you, Jennifer. I unfortunately, like, you know, we've seen it firsthand where she talked about the ill-informed voters, right? Now, I'm a little more optimistic because we hear the most out of the ill-informed voters. Those are the ones that speak the loudest. But at the end of the day, one of the advantages that we have is we also have a very disengaged electorate. And all we got to do is get them engaged. And if we get them engaged, we can flip the script like we did when Glenda Ritz was running against Tony Bennett. It's hard for me to say his name because I always want to choke when I say it. But I'm very optimistic to the opportunities that we have. So with that said, I would like to introduce House Minority Whip, Representative Phil Giaquinta.
Appreciate you having us all here this evening. Good to see everybody. I State Rep District 80, which is basically downtown, just south of Zesto. I get directions by ice cream. And head over down to Tillman Road, and then bordered on the west of Broadway and the east by Wayne Trace. So been in office since 2006 and seeking re-election again in 2024. So appreciate the support that you've given me over the years. Really do appreciate the support that ISCA has given our caucus over the years. We've got a lot of great candidates running across the state. Our goal is, of course, to break the supermajority, and we're going to work very hard to try to get that done. One of our new members, Kyle, great having Kyle Miller in the caucus with us this year. My name thing says whip. I'm actually the House leader. I'm not the whip. We have someone else that does that. But Kyle's awesome. He's one person I don't really have to whip into shape. Although when I asked him what we were doing tonight, he said it's really easy. We're going to eat pizza and shake some hands. So I said I don't have to talk, right? He goes, nope, you're good there. So Kyle will have to whip you into shape on some of those things. But you know, if I can, just want to talk about a couple things. Yeah, I'm also a graduate of public education. I started off in kindergarten with a couple of other buddies from the block who were a year older than I was. So they went on to first grade. I went on to something called reading readiness. I don't even think we do that anymore, but they get caught up with my class. And I think it was at third grade, my mother, who was a little bit older, she's older, she's almost 46 years old when she had me, so I think they just sort of, after having the other five, I think it was like, you know, what do you want to do? She wasn't very strict on at that point, but do you want to go to St. John's? I said, you know, I really like Harrison Hill, so I stayed at Harrison Hill, and I went all the way through and graduated from Southside High School. By the way, the food is great. I'm not sure if we had the baker, whoever was related to you, but...
You're too young for that.
Yeah, so, and I do want to kind of follow up on something that Kyle did say. The advocacy that you all have done, and you're all welcome down to the State House at any time. Come see me, come to the office. But just to follow up on the example that Kyle gave with regards to the budget dollars in 23, it was really the advocacy and the phone calls, but not only from teachers, but superintendents as well, that were going, at least calling into the Senate. I know that. There are fewer of them to call. And they just happened to find another $300 million, which was helpful. I mean, it's still, I think, the second year Fort Wayne Community Schools might have maybe a 1% increase. Or, I mean, at least it was negative going into that, so it was a little bit better, but obviously not a whole lot. And then this year, there was a bill, and I'm sorry I can't remember the specifics, because I can't think of the name of the school. It was some sort of school, and if you're going to adopt this program, they would basically get away with collective bargaining. I don't know if you remember that or not. And there was an amendment that took it out in the Senate, which was fine. Then they put it back in a conference committee, and everybody got on the phone again and made phone calls, and that was very helpful. So they ended up taking the language out, which was great at the end. So I guess I just tell you about these two stories because advocacy does matter, and your voices, especially as a collective group, can really make a difference. So. And then just some of the issues that have already been addressed, but obviously the voucher situation. I put out a news release today basically saying, look, 6% of the students, the kids in the state use vouchers, and it's costing us an additional $450 million. That just covers 1 year. So the other 90 4% of the students go to public education, why aren't they getting the extra money that they deserve? And then you look at the, really, I think it was mentioned, I know you talked about, it gets a little tricky here because, and I've heard these things, maybe you've all heard these too, that when the money goes to the parochial schools, there's a lot of shell game going around with money because they're basically using that money to do other things with things that are going on at their school, at their church, and things like that. So it's really taking away, I think that it was mentioned urban and suburban, don't forget rural schools as well, because they seem to get hit the most because they're frankly losing students in the rural areas. That's the part of Indiana that is not growing. The areas that are the suburban schools, and they tend to do a little bit better anyway, but they're more, frankly, more well-educated and things like that. And so we really need to work and focus on those schools that don't do as well. Unfortunately, they're getting beat up worse by the vouchers. Charter schools. I just saw today, at least it was sent to me today, is it Tinley? I forget the name of the charter school that's in Indianapolis, where the head of that was just indicted on several counts of fraud, of stealing money. And I bring that up because there just isn't enough oversight, whether it's vouchers or some of these charter schools, there isn't enough oversight. And these are public dollars. And it's really ridiculous that we have these things. Once dollars sort of get out what I call the public sphere, if you will, oversight of our school board members and those in the legislature, who knows what the heck we're going to do with it. And just to circle back to vouchers, what's going to happen next year, the bill's going to be, it's going to be an ESA type of thing. So it's an education savings account. So they're going to say, here's your card or whatever it is, your $6,000, $7,000 for each of your students, go wherever you want. And you think there's abuse now, wait till you see what happens when we start doing something like that. So I think that's about all I have to say. I was very happy to meet Kathy. We met last week with regards to the changes with regards to the diploma. You also did a great job, those of you that went down to the State Board of Education meeting a few weeks before that to talk about the third grade reading scores. I'm going to let you take some of those things too. Keep working on those things because I don't think we've heard the last of that issue or those issues, particularly when it comes to upcoming sessions. So, but if you don't think your voices aren't being heard, they are. And Tom, I totally agree. We're talking a little bit of strategy here with regards to what we can do. Campaigning at the grassroots level is the best, and it works the best. Knocking on doors, sending postcards, doing those type of things, it really works. Talking to your neighbors. I mean, they believe your neighbors. They're not going to maybe necessarily believe what's on the news or things like that, but they'll trust what you have to say. And the more facts that you have, I don't care if it's a piece of paper with the facts on it, go talk to your neighbors because they'll believe what you have to say. And because you're the experts, you've got the knowledge, you've got the gravitas, if you will, to bring those issues forward, and it does make a difference. So thanks for being here tonight. Thanks for all the support in the past. Appreciate it. We'll talk to you soon.